If true, this changes everything for the Boston Bruins, as a new report has revealed the 3 teams that are in on Trent Frederic and have been linked to him, and this gives us a very good idea of which teams are going to make an effort to trade for Trent Frederic. We're going to be talking about all of those teams here in this video and pointing out which is the most likely for the Boston Bruins here in this video. Before we get into it, though, we know 70% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all of your Boston Bruins news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button, join me here on the channel. We are covering everything Boston Bruins. And remember, we're on the road to 6K. We know we can do it. Your support's been absolutely incredible lately. I do appreciate everybody watching this video right now. But with any further ado, let's get to our first screenshot here, kind of going over what we know right now. Now, this comes from an article, I believe in the 4th period. Trent Frederic is the 23rd on the trade board for them. The Bruins are fighting for a postseason life, but moving Frederic might be necessary if the team can't get him signed to a new contract so they can at least generate an asset for him. And the teams reportedly linked are Vancouver, Washington, and Minnesota. And here's where things get very, very interesting, is that these teams right here, all 3 of which are in desperate need of adding either a center or someone that can also play wing. And we know Trent Frederic is a very good option for the bottom 6. He's been playing on the bottom 6 for pretty much his entire Bruins tenure, apart from a few games where he'd pop up on the second line and whatnot. But as it goes for third line centermen, players that can play in the bottom 6, he is one of the most ideal for all of these teams here in the trade deadline. And when we look at Trent Frederic's build, when we kind of look at everything that he comes with a lot of physicality, which, once again, all of these teams need. They're all in very good positions, apart from the Vancouver Canucks, but they're still looking to get into the playoffs and still, as we've been seeing, are very active in the trade market. And when it comes to Trent Frederic, a guy who, in 50 games this season, 12, just under 13 minutes average on ice, his production has declined significantly after the past 2 seasons. And knowing that he may be able to do this again could be a very big asset for other teams going to look and acquiring him. And of course, right now, the value for Trent Frederic may be low, but it's better than getting nothing. And the way that it looks like right now and the way that kind of all this discussions have gone, the Bruins have the option to either re-sign Trent Frederic, and what would likely be happening if he did re-sign is that they would get him for much, much cheaper than what he would have maybe a year ago. Now, a recent report that I had in another video still indicated him around that $4 million mark for around 3 to 4 seasons, which is still a hefty price tag for Trent Frederic. Now, the Bruins have a lot of free agent forwards, so they're definitely going to want to bring back at least some. Is Trent Frederic going to be one of them? Still yet to find out, but it does seem like the Bruins are actively shopping him, and many teams are showing quite a bit of interest to put into their bottom 6, but also having the possibility of popping up into the top lines if need be. And when we're looking at Minnesota, we're looking at Washington. Those 2 teams right now definitely at the top of the NHL. And as we look at the standings, second are the Capitals, 8th are the Wild, both looking and are on pace to be in a playoffs, in a deep run, and have teams to be able to win Stanley Cups. And as you know, their depth is not the greatest, but they do have a heavy hitting front. And Ovechkin's out a while. This team is still at 2nd overall in the standings. Minnesota, Kirill Kaprizov's out for a while. They're still looking to add some depth, veteran type of forwards. Both of those teams actively a perfect fit for Trent Frederic. And when it comes down to the Vancouver Canucks, who are actively right now, at least at the time recording this video, in 19th, we see them go make a trade for JT Miller, and then once again, another one with the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're really trying to make quite those moves to get into this playoff spot, and get where they need to be, and really just kind of lock where they need to be, and ultimately add what they can. And knowing that Trent Frederic, not playing the greatest, but as I mentioned, looking at his stats in the past few seasons, I'll pull this one up again, kind of, don't show his goals and assists, points per game or whatever, but when you're looking at it, he does have that ability to become the guy that the Bruins have wanted him to be. Over the last few seasons, I was very high on him. As I'm sure a lot of you guys know, I've been saying the Bruins should re-sign him, but the way the Bruins are kind of trending to go right now, I think trading him is the best option. The playoffs are certainly still quite a distance away, even though, the last game against the Rangers, big win, important win, especially against an Eastern Conference team, but when it does come down to it, how many more games are they going to be able to do this? We see Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak both playing at an incredible level, but when you're looking at this forward core right here and kind of showing, even with or without Trent Frederic, it is better without him. It is, still a very interesting lineup to look at where we don't really see a full playoff team, but if everybody's healthy, everybody's playing well, that could borderline be one of these teams that they want to be in. Of course, trading Trent Frederic has been an option. That's kind of the main target that we've spoken about, really indicating that if anybody were to go, it would be him. And of course, we've seen I don't know what to even call it, the Cam Neely assortment of quotes of talking about trading and buying and selling. It is just a very tough way to look at the Bruins trade deadline heading into off season and what they're planning on doing. And something has to be done soon if anything is going to be made. So when we're looking at Trent Frederic, when we're looking at these lines, the spot for Georgi Merkulov, the spot for Fabian Lysell, the spot for someone, a prospect or a young player acquired from either, the Wild, the Capitals, or the Canucks, certainly fits into a lineup option for this team looking to kind of rejig, retool, whatever the team is calling it. And as it looks now, this is giving us a very good hint and a very good idea that these teams being interested, looking for a player similar to Trent Frederic, his style and his role, means that he's going to be a very big and interesting trade candidate going forward. And if he's going to be traded, it does certainly seem like, at least from this point now, unless the Bruins somehow manage to go on a very big winning streak over the next few games. But as we've seen for Bruins fans, as we've seen these games, it is still a very tough challenge to really indicate that will happen. But I do have a few updates here from this morning's skate before we finish the video off. Heading into tomorrow's game against the Wild, I'm sure they're going to have some scouts there at this game. But starting off here with Scott McLaughlin, Mark Kaslik is available to play tomorrow, which is a very good sign that he's coming back. Very good that we're getting him back. One of the players that has been the biggest surprise for the Bruins this year has been Mark Kaslik, and his absence has been very noticeable. And that's one thing that the Bruins have been waiting to get back and finally are going to at least see him or have the chance to see him back on the ice. Now, it wouldn't surprise me either if they wait until after the break, but if Mark Kaslik's available, the Bruins need to get everybody going, and obviously he will play if the chance is there. But as our second one here, Hampus Lindholm's unlikely to be available until after the All-Star Four Nations break, I should say, actually, because it's not the All-Star game this season, but very, good decision, I'm going to say, by the Boston Bruins to wait and take their time on Hampus Lindholm. We've known he's been injured, and of course, even though it'll still be a few more games until we get into that break, I believe 3 more until we do see the break come, it is better to rest him up, get him that, extra 2-week break, rather than rushing him into 3 games, having him potentially get the chance of being injured when you kind of wait on 3 games, get him back after, and hopefully he is fully healthy. And this is what Joe Sacco had to say about Hampus Lindholm. He said, "It's unlikely that we're going to see Hampus before the break. We're erring on the side of caution right now as far as it goes. That's the plan right now. No setback. That's where we're at in his progress." So it does seem like the team is very committing to having him back and hopefully making him stay back. And of course, we can't really afford to lose Hampus Lindholm, as Mark Kaslik has been, as I said about him, his absence has been incredibly noticeable and has been a big part of the Bruins losing. And, no fault of his, an injury happens, you have to recover from it. There's no point in running back to it when you have a higher chance of getting re-injured. But if he does stay, if everything continues to rock in the Bruins' way and everybody becomes healthy, the Bruins may have a very, very interesting chance towards the playoffs, especially with the way that Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak have been playing as of late. So let me know what you think about the Trent Frederic news here, as well as kind of the updates that we have towards the game. What do you think about Hampus Lindholm staying out? But also let me know what you think about Trent Frederic going to either of these teams and what you think the odds are of that happening. But that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. Remember, on the road to 6K, also on the road to surpassing the Bruins in subs. I know, very, very difficult challenge, but the support's been incredible, as I mentioned, and the Bruins have a lot of stuff coming. You won't want to miss it. Just make sure to stay up to date by hitting that sub button. But that's all I got. Like I said, if you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing up. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.